What's going on, guys? Today we're coming at you with another video. Today we're going to be doing guessing some remaining players spots that we think they're going to go in free agency. This could not age well. As of right now, I'm recording this at midnight Pacific time, at the beginning of Friday the 20th. So by the time I wake up, all of these guys could be signed. It's very possible that that's possible. But we're going to just have some fun, and I'm going to talk about which teams I think they should go to. I knocked them down all to 3 except for one exception. These aren't always the most glaring spot, but I'll give my explanations for each one. Have some fun with it. Obviously, this is all just prediction videos. A lot of free agency and mock drafts and everything are all predictions. But of course, if you do like the video, leave a like on the video, as it does help me a lot. And be sure to subscribe for more content as well. And I appreciate everything you guys have been doing. So let's get into it right away. The first guy that we're going to talk about is none other than Jameis Winston. He's a guy where he threw 30 touchdowns. He looked good a lot of the times, and he also looked so bad last year. The 30 interceptions as well, which is insane. He's my exception. And then I'll go into it. I think the number one team that he should be looking to go to is the New England Patriots. I think that he got the LASIK surgery, which it should help his squinting that he's had a lot of the time this in his NFL career and throughout his life. I guess is really what the problem has been. So hopefully his vision's a little bit better, which should be decent. I think it'll be a step in the right direction. And I think Belichick and them need somebody that isn't a brand new quarterback to the NFL, doesn't have to learn all the ropes, and they have to hope that it's a Brady, but a guy who's still young enough to where if they could get him to be a franchise quarterback, he could be that for them. And why wouldn't you go for a former number one overall pick at that point? Belichick, I think, has the wherewithal to be able to get the best out of Winston, and if anything, at least bridge him to get the next quarterback, or at least give a guy that maybe you draft this year time to develop, or even Stidham time to develop. Number two, I have the Washington Redskins. There's been rumors about maybe Winston going there to back up Haskins. I think if Winston goes to Washington, I think he'll win out the job against Haskins. I don't think Haskins has the skill set, at least not yet, that Winston has. And I think Winston could go in there and win the job right away, which in turn could either give the Redskins the quarterback they want, or it could give Haskins more time to develop. And by the time they're ready to move on and give the reins to Haskins, Winston will be ready. But this is a whole new coaching staff. We don't know how they feel about Haskins yet. They might not even know how they feel about Haskins yet. And we'll see a lot more after the draft what we think is going to happen. But I think that's a good landing spot. And then I have the Lions and the Steelers because they're both in kind of similar situations here. You could throw the Colts on here, but I think the Colts have Brissett, so that's a little bit of a different question. I have them both on here because they both have quarterbacks who have been riddled with injuries. And for the Steelers, it's been up there in age, but also they've both been talked about with retirement, whether it's due to injuries like Stafford is, or whether it's age and injuries like Big Ben is. These are teams that Winston could go, probably get a good amount of reps in this season, due to those guys usually missing a couple games. And he can also, take the year off, kind of learn a little bit more, because he's had a couple of rough years, and see what you can do. I think that if something tragic happens to Stafford, and I hope it doesn't, but I think having Winston as your backup is a lot better than David Blau. I think the same thing. I think that he's going to be a lot better than Duck Hodges and Rudolph. So I think that Winston would be a good solid pickup for them. It's just a matter of how much money you would be willing to spend to get him as a backup and for how long. And that's it. But I think that Winston going to any of these teams would be a fine fit. Patriots being the number one for them. Now, number two is the newly free agent today, Todd Gurley, arguably the best running back the past 5 years. He's been insane. He has won me a fantasy championship one year. He's also completely lost me a fantasy championship this year. So he's one of the fantasy players. No, he's one of the best players. I have 3 teams on here. I'm not sure which one I think is going to be his top destination for me, but I'll just talk about each of them just in order from top to bottom, pretty much. Arizona Cardinals, I have them up top, just because I think that would be insane to see. He'd stay in division, so I think that it'd be cool for him to do. They've built this team around Kyler Murray and all these young, talented players to where I'm not sure if they could scrape enough cap to get him. Maybe they get him on a 1 year, but I think seeing him and Kenyon Drake would help him out a lot because they need to split carries. We know Gurley has the injury concerns. Hopefully he heals up. But I think that, excuse me, I think that having him in that backfield, along with DeAndre Hopkins, along with Larry Fitzgerald, Kyler Murray, I think that is just such an insane team that you'd be able to, and it looks like the Cardinals are trying to with the signing of Devondre Campbell, kind of win now. Rams are falling apart. The Seahawks are beatable, definitely. And, you got the 49ers who are defending Super Bowl contenders. And you got to be able to take them down with something. And I think the Cardinals have a good shot at doing that this year, especially if they get a guy like Gurley, who's arguably the best running back in football when he's fully healthy. Now you go over to the Miami Dolphins. They signed Jordan Howard. I get that. But this is a whole nother animal. This is Todd Gurley we're talking about. Todd freaking Gurley. Imagine the Dolphins, with all their money they spent, having the amazing defense that they have right now with Van Noy, Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, Shaq Lawson, all these guys that are doing well. And then you go onto the offensive side and you get your new quarterback, probably Tua Tagovailoa, and you get him a Todd Gurley weapon right in the backfield to help him out. I think that would be insane. I think also Jordan Howard being there helps him out as well. I think that'd be awesome. Then the Buccaneers, they just got Tom Brady. People want to get a title. If Gurley really wants to win what he wasn't able to win 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, I think that going there would be huge. They need a running back. I like Ronald Jones. I just don't think he's going to be what we all thought he could have been. And I think that going with Brady, Evans, Godwin, I think that's an offense that's going to be unstoppable if he goes there. Excuse me. I'm still trying to get over this cough. I know it's annoying in the video, but here we go. Jadeveon Clowney, New York Giants, I think is his best destination. Giants need an edge rusher. They did well against the edge against the rush and last year against the pass last year in terms of rushing. They have a bunch of big guys in the middle. They usually run a 3-down set of 3 really big fat guys to plug the holes, take double teams, and then you have an edge rusher or 2 on the outside. Last year was Marcus Golden. Marcus Golden had a great year last year for them. They haven't re-signed him. He's still in the open market. He's not going to be talking about this video, unfortunately, but Jadeveon Clowney could fill that hole. I don't know if you get him for a long-term deal. I know you don't pay him as much as he wants because no team is offering him, and it's kind of made him upset. But to get him on the team would kind of let you take that division by storm to where there's no team right now that's the so-called winner of the NFC East right now. The Eagles have had a good offseason. The Cowboys have lost a lot of players, but they've retained a couple, so it's been decent for them. But this division's really wide open right now. And a team like the Giants, who are young and they've added a lot of good talent in free agency and have high draft picks, I think that Jadeveon Clowney joining them would help them out and maybe get them over the little hump that they need to, that is the NFC East. Then I have the Las Vegas Raiders. Cleveland Farrell had a pretty good year last year, and I think that he would be good on the line as well. Max Crosby, I think, is very, very good. But when you're going to Vegas, you want big names, you want big talent. I think Jadeveon Clowney can produce that for you. He's a guy that you can just put him on any person on the line and he'd do well. I think that getting him on the Raiders would add a bigger dynamic to the whole team. I think that he would do a lot more for them, and I think that would just be really cool to see them, kind of their Khalil Mack replacement for the fans as well. I think that would be cool to see. I know they have Max Crosby. I know they have Cleveland Farrell. I still think that Jadeveon Clowney would be something that would be interesting to see in Las Vegas. I definitely think it could work as well for them. And then, of course, I also have the Los Angeles Rams, as you can see on the screen. They just released Clay Matthews. They just released Todd Gurley as well, so they freed up a little bit of money. I think that they can get a guy like this, especially with the departure of Dante Fowler. I forgot where he went, but a guy like Jadeveon Clowney could keep you competitive if you still think you're competitive. I think that Goff, Kupp, Woods, I think they're all still talented. You're going to need to replace a running back most likely, but if you want to stay competitive, I think that getting a guy like Clowney is a really good way to do it, especially with how Peters played last year in the secondary as well. So get a guy like Jadeveon Clowney. Now we go over to the big D tackle, the veteran, Snacks Harrison. One of the best run stuffers probably in NFL history. He stuffs the run so well. Big Pro Football Focus guy. I'm not, but he always grades well. He's one of the best. When he was on the Giants, I loved him. He did so well. I'm going to 3 teams here. The best one, hands down, Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to be a young team. They're going to be a hungry team next year. Most likely with Burrow at quarterback. They were last year in against the run. They were last. They allowed the most rushing yards per game. And I think that getting a guy like Snacks is going to help you a lot, especially when you're in a division where Mark Ingram is going to be pounding the rock down your throat. James Conner is going to be a little swifty back there, but he could probably get through there. And why am I blanking? The Browns. The Browns have Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is going to go right through you as well. So getting a guy like Snacks not only creates more veteran leadership that you have than obviously Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap, um, but you really can protect against that rush because they were horrible last year. I know that they have the talent there, they've drafted there, but it just hasn't done enough. I think that Snacks would be a huge, huge upgrade for them to be going into next season. Then I have the Dallas Cowboys, another team that just did not do well against the rush last year, and a division where you have Saquon Barkley, Miles Sanders had a very good rookie year, and we're still to see how the Redskins produce. I mean, they have AP still, but Geis is still producing. We'll see what they can do, but the Cowboys need some help in that interior. They lost Malik Collins to the Raiders. They lost Robert Quinn. That D line is looking atrocious right now. If you get another guy, especially a guy who's been in the division, I think that would help a lot. And then I have the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. You'll see the Steelers probably again in this video as well. I think that losing Javon Hargrave to the Eagles is a big loss, and I think this is something you got to feel right away. Um, you're a team that you have a lot of talent, and you probably could have made the playoffs last year if you had Big Ben. Now with Big Ben back, this is kind of your last hoorah before you have to hit that reset button. I think getting a guy like Snacks could help you kind of plug where Hargrave was there and help you out in your last hopes of getting the playoffs probably for a couple years, unfortunately. Now we go over to another running back, and that's going to be Melvin Gordon, one of the most highly touted free agents coming into this year, and he just played his way out of it. I do not have Devontae Freeman on here. I try to keep the video shorter, but you could probably put Devontae Freeman in any of the things that I had Gurley or Melvin Gordon going to. I picked 3 different teams for Melvin Gordon because I didn't want to repeat myself, but also I think this is kind of interesting. Melvin Gordon, even though he is considered a bell cow back when he was healthy and everything, and I think he could become that, I think right now, at this moment in time, I think that he's going to be best set with another running back there where they could switch out and they can do kind of what the Packers do with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, to where they're both really good running backs, but they're used in their own ways, even though they're very similar. So that's why I have a team like the Steelers up there, where he could go in there with James Conner, who I think James Conner is one of the worst rushing backs in the NFL. I think he's great in the pass. I think he's great out wide and toss plays and stretches. I don't think that he is good at running the ball. He can't hit the tackles, he can't hit the guards. He has good plays, and I think he does well, and he did really well, especially coming in for Le'Veon Bell when Le'Veon was holding out. But they need a running back, a guy who can really hit the hole. We saw them throw in Benny Snell. We saw them throw in whoever put on a Steelers jersey last year to try and get some running plays. That was also because James Conner was banged up, but getting Melvin Gordon back there, that Melvin Gordon-James Conner combo, you can run them both at the same time. You can have them alternate out. You can have them both run, both catch. It would be really cool to see, and that would be another helpful step for Big Ben to come back into and have a reliable guy like Melvin Gordon back there. Then I go over to the Kansas City Chiefs, another team where it's like they don't really have the cap space to be doing too much right now, especially with they're going to have to pay Chris Jones because they tagged him. But I think that he would be a great fit there, especially with how high-powered and fast that offense is. With the money he's getting right now, he's probably not going to even get as much as Eckler did. But if he goes to the Chiefs, maybe on a 1-year cheap deal, they could repeat as champions just because of that move. Because I don't know if Damian Williams is going to be back, and I also think that Melvin Gordon is going to be a huge upgrade. Then you go over to the Eagles. Eagles have had a running back issue for a long time. Like I said in the last, the Gurley one, or not the Gurley one, the Damon Snacks Harrison one. The Eagles' rushing game was solid last year. Miles Sanders had a really good year. The thing about it is, similar to James Conner, a lot of it was in the pass game. His rushing was still solid. Don't get me wrong. I think he has potential to grow into that. But if you got a guy like Melvin Gordon in the backfield with Miles Sanders in the pass field, it's like the James Conner situation. That'd be deadly. Miles Sanders can line up in the slot. He even did last year. He lined up a receiver. I mean, that guy was very, very good, especially in the pass game. So if you get a guy who's strictly going to run the ball more often than not, I think that would create wonders for teams, and especially in the NFC East, like I said, is wide open. You get any star power, it's going to help you. So a team like the Eagles would be fun to see him in as well. Obviously, the teams that Gurley had on his list, I think would also fit Melvin Gordon. Then we got over to Robbie Anderson. Very, very slim but tall and athletic receiver. He hasn't been getting much traction this offseason, but I think that he deserves at least some sort of contract. I have him going to the Broncos as my main one. I think him and Courtland Sutton would be huge. They could even spend a draft pick to get maybe a Henry Ruggs if he's still there. I think that this is a prime spot for them, especially with how their team is. I think he fits the timeline well. Drew Lock going to be there. Fant, Sutton. I think Robbie Anderson's, he's like 26 years old, I believe. I think he's going to be a good addition to that. He's tall, he's fast, he's athletic. similar to Sutton as well. That'd be a fun, a dynamic offense, and it's another weapon to get Drew Lock more comfortable in if you do believe that he's your quarterback. And from what he did last year, I think he probably can be your quarterback for at least a few years. Then you go over to Jacksonville. Similar to what I said about Drew Lock, Gardner Minshew needs some weapons. DJ Shark had an amazing year, but other than that, there's nothing to write home about with this receiving core. They don't even have a tight end off the top of my head that is worth writing home about. So why not get yourself a Robbie Anderson? Athletic, like I said, him and DJ Shark would be really cool to watch as well. Gardner Minshew has the arm to get the ball down the field, to make plays, and Robbie Anderson should be able to do that. I think he was a product of a bad system. I hate Adam Gase as a coach. I don't think he should be a head coach, and I think that Robbie Anderson kind of fell short due to that, but I think he still got the talent. I don't think that went anywhere. I still think he's really good. Going to Jacksonville would help him. And then Indianapolis, similar to all the other ones, they have one good receiver, and then they kind of fall off. T.Y. Hilton is a monster. Pro Bowl, All-Pro. It's just his injuries have been plaguing him, and they signed Funchess last year on a 1 year hoping it would do something. It didn't. He got injured, and he never played. But then you go and look at what Robbie Anderson can do on the other side, and that would be great for Phillip Rivers. You have Phillip Rivers on a 1 year contract. You're obviously going to try and do something this year, so get another weapon for him and have him throw to Robbie Anderson because that would help him out a lot. Now, Logan Ryan, I do believe this is the last one. Man, he is a guy where I think he's at least a vet at this point, to where I think any team could use him well. I don't think he's worth the big bucks. I don't think he's going to get the big bucks, but I think that he's going to be someone that you can put in there and at least he will produce good. I don't think he'll do great. I don't think he'll do bad. I think he'll just be good. And the Vikings need something at this point. They let Xavier Woods go for obvious reasons. He was really bad last year. Mackenzie Alexander left today. I forgot which team he went to. So right now you have young guys, and Trey Wayne's left as well. So you have a lot of corners leaving, and you haven't replaced any of them. You're hoping to get one in the draft, but getting a guy like Logan Ryan, maybe on a cheap deal, maybe a 2 year, $16 million deal, would be something that the Vikings could definitely fit into their contract budget. And with all the money they freed up from letting Diggs leave, letting Rhodes leave, letting Linval leave, I think that they can get a guy like Logan Ryan to at least fill the hole for right now, as well as they can draft and hopefully grow that position throughout the next year. Carolina Panthers, they lost James Bradbury. Dante Jackson, I think, is a very good corner, but he's young. He can't be put on an island. They need some help there. They let Eric Reed go as well, so the secondary is a little shaken up at the moment. Getting a guy like Logan Ryan would help out Jackson a lot and would fill that Bradbury hole at least a little bit. I think he's not going to be as good as Bradbury, but I think that he would definitely fill the hole well. And, of course, I have Tampa Bay on there. Like I said, a lot of players are wanting to go play with Brady. Logan Ryan already won a Super Bowl with Brady. I think that that would be fun for him to go back to Brady. And I think that the secondary for the Buccaneers has always been a little lackluster. They had good seasons last year. Carlton Davis did pretty well. Jamal Dean did very well as well. There's another guy I'm missing out on, but they had good years. So getting a guy like Logan Ryan to help guide them, help let them progress. I think that you can never have too many corners in the NFL. So if he's there with those guys on the field, it's going to do wonders for them, and I think that it'll help them a lot. But that's going to be it for the video. Like I said, I don't know if this is going to age well. I could wake up in the morning, all these things were wrong, and that's okay. This is just something fun to be put out there. Nothing really exciting happened today in free agency. No Jade, like all these guys haven't signed, obviously. So instead of trying to figure out other stuff to do or talk about some crappy signings, we're going to just predict it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know who you think they're going to go to. If they already went, let me know who they went to in the comment section below. If you did like the video, of course, leave a like on the video, as it does help me out a lot. And make sure to subscribe. If you did not like the video, just refresh the page, try it again, give it another chance, and maybe you'll like it the second time. But without further ado, that is going to be it for me. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.